my name is Tuppence. This week I want to make something pretty and I've got my favourite mould. This is a square lidded pot. It's got slightly curved sides to it and the lid is nice and flat, perfect for putting other items on top of. And I'm going to be using an IntoResin mould to do that this week. This is their water ripple butterfly. I'm going to make something super pretty for Mother's Day, which in the UK is in March, and it'll be the 15th of March this year. So let's go ahead and see what I can make. I've already mixed up some of my resin. I'm using craft resin. I've got about 4 ounces, which I'm not sure is going to be enough. I'm going to do the butterfly first, and so I'm going to put a little bit of resin into this medicine cup. I'm going to fill it about halfway, so that's probably about 15 mils in there. And to that, I'm going to add some of these blue mylar flakes. It's kind of blue with a pinky cast, really pretty. And some of this Dazzling diamonds, which is a white mica with a glitter in it. This is one of my favourites. I don't want too much, so I'm just going to add a couple of tiny scoops, get that mixed in, just to add a little sparkle to the butterfly. And then I can add these mylar flakes in. Actually, a little bit more fell out than I intended, but I'm sure it will be fine. So I'll just mix that in, make sure that all of those flakes are coated in that resin. Hopefully that means that I shouldn't get any bubbles stuck around them. So stir it up. Now this is a really beautiful mould from IntoResin and it creates the most wonderful butterfly. It doesn't take up very much resin either, so it's a great thing to do with your overspill. When you mix up far too much resin, just throw it in this mould, have a whole pile of butterflies. It's really pretty. Now that I've put a little bit down into one wing, I don't want to put a stick in there because I don't want to damage the mould and scratch it. So I'm just kind of squeezing it, making sure that I spread that resin around on the inside, and hopefully that will prevent any air bubbles in there. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Pour a little bit in and give that a squeeze. I've got a little bit on top. Try and keep this clean as I'm going on. So squish, and then I can top that up. And I did not put very much resin in this medicine cup, about 15 mil, and I'm probably only going to use about half of that. So just fill that up and give it another quick tiny squish, just wipe up the surface, and that will be pretty much it for the butterfly. Okay, let me just give myself a quick clean up and then I can move on. So yeah, about half. I probably used 7.5. So you can see, you know, you really don't need very much resin. You're going to get an amazing effect. Wait till you see the end of this. Actually, I'm just going to try and weed out a couple of bits of that mylar and see if I can get them to stay where I want them to be. It's a lovely big blue chunk there. Try and weed out a few more. I don't need to add too much more resin to this. It's already pretty full though. Okay, hopefully they will stay where they are. There's not really very much resin in there for it to be moving around. Another quick clean up. Alright, a couple of drops more of resin for good luck. And I think that's probably enough for that. So now the rest of this resin is going to be for the lid and the pot. It's been a little while since I've mixed this, but I'm pretty sure I need more than I actually have. I'm going to split this in half because I want to mix up a couple of colours. And the first colour I'm using is this Luminarte Primary Elements colour. It's called Stargazer. It's like a kind of blue with a purple cast. These are very saturated pigments. They're designed for you to make your own paints. So I'm only going to put a small amount in and then mix that round. And it's been a very long time since I bought these. It's about 15 years I've had them, so you can see just how little you need. And yeah, if I can find any links to these, I will put links to the products that I'm using in the description box below, so be sure to check that out if you're interested in any of this. I'm going to add a couple of scoops of the Dazzling diamonds so that I get a sparkle, and then that colour should mimic the colours in the butterfly. Make sure that that is all stirred round. That is gorgeous. And the other colour is also a Luminarte product, and this one is called Iridescent Blue. It's a white with a blue cast. It kind of reminds me of moonbeams. And again, I'm going to put a couple of scoops in, a little bit more, a bit more resin in this one. Just put my lids back on and then mix that in. Trying not to mix too many bubbles into this. I am going to be putting these in my G3 curing machine and putting that on, but I'm going to let them sit for about 45 minutes to an hour, just so that they degas naturally before I turn the heat on. Alright, that is very pretty. You can see the blue shimmer on the surface. So I'm going to start filling up my pot now, and I want to fill these so that the colours are directly opposite each other, kind of on the diagonal. I want it to fill up each corner, so I get half and half. And I'm really sorry that you can't see through my hands at the moment. There we go, but you will see what I've done in a minute when I move my hand out the way. Lovely. Definitely need to mix up a little bit more. I've got about half, just over half full. So I'm going to mix up some more resin and I'll be back. So I've mixed up some more resin and I've mixed up my colours, and I'm making sure to pour the same colours into the same corners. And that is pretty good. Didn't need an awful lot more. Now I can use the rest of this to put in the lid. Before I do that, I'm going to put a little bit of this opal chunky glitter in there. So I've picked it up on my finger of my glove and I'm just pressing that down into one corner of the lid. That should stick onto the surface of the mould. That looks pretty good. And now I'm going to pour the white on top of that and then the blue in the opposite corner, so that when I put the lid on, I will match those colours up to the same as the pot, hopefully anyway. Right, so I definitely don't have enough to fill this up. I do have some clear resin mixed up and I'm just adding the colours as I go. So let me just scrape out my pots and fill up the lid with what I've got. Let me move that over a little bit. And that, and then I've got a little bit more room, and I'm not going to dip my fingers into that pot beside me. So just scrape everything out. There's quite an overhang on this lid, so I do want to make sure that I fill this up past that overhang so that I can weed the bubbles out from underneath, because they do tend to get trapped and then you end up with holes in your resin. Scrape all that out. I'll mix up a little bit more blue. So I've mixed up a bit more blue, and that should be enough to fill that corner and bring that blue over a little bit more. Should raise the level up so that I can get underneath that lip and chase any of the bubbles out. I have got a little bit left I can put in, but I'm going to use this up first. This is the resin that I used for the butterfly. So I'm going to pour that into the white side. Not much in there, I don't really need much now, but I'm not going to waste it. Okay, I'm going to take a micro brush stick. I've taken the little fuzzy off the end and I'm gently poking around the sides, trying to get any of the bubbles out, and it's a real shame that I need to do this right now because there's some amazing webbing on the top and I would love to leave that there, but I think I'm going to be destroying it by poking the bubbles out from underneath this lip. Okay, last little bit, and I think that's pretty good. Right, I'm going to bring some of that blue back again. I'm just going to drag the white and bring the blue back. And then I need to leave these now. Just see if I can get any more of this out. It's thickening up quite a bit. But as I say, I don't like wasting resin. And I won't waste any excess that I might have here. I will throw that into a couple of other little moulds that I have. I always have some overspill. Obviously, as I say, I would have used the butterfly, but that's part of this make, so I will find some other moulds. Just scrape that out. Might as well put all those little glitters in there, or iridescent micas. I don't know, they may be heavy enough to drop through to the front where the glitter is. If not, the back will be very pretty anyway. Alright, now I'm going to leave these to cure on the mat for about 45 minutes, an hour. That will let most of them degas naturally, and then I'm going to put the curing machine on, and I will put it on for 2 hours, and then I should be able to demold these. Just topping up the pot, because these will shrink once I do put them in the machine. And I'll see you for demold. Okay, it is time for demold, and this is much like Christmas, where you get to unwrap your gifts and figure out whether there's something you want to keep or pass on to someone else. So I'm just going to pull that back, and that's looking promising. There's no bubbles there. Yay, no bubbles. Oh, that's really pretty. That is really nice. I'm very happy with that. Alright, now let's see if I can get the pot out. Now this one is a little bit more difficult to get off. Got a drip of resin on the outside. Just got to pull back one side. There we go. If I can get my thumb under there, I can start to roll it back. Now it does want to roll back onto itself, so keep hold of that, and once I get that folded over, once you get half of it folded over, you're pretty good to go. Keep that rolled back, and then I can roll back the other side and just slip it off. Come on, there you go, almost there. Fold back. Aha, and then I'll roll that off. And then I just need to twist that and it will pull out of the middle. I am loving that wispy look on the outside. Yes, I am very happy with it. No bubbles along the top. And the colours match up. I just need to fit the lid in, make sure that it's not deformed. I won't leave the lid on here for the moment because it's not properly cured yet and it will stick. Right, let's have a look at the butterfly. And again, this is still a little soft. It will continue to harden up. Just need to get one of the wings out. It's a very soft silicone. And once you get one wing free, it is easy. Pull the other one out. And there we go. Lovely. I love this butterfly. So, so pretty. And it looks perfect. So I'm going to sit it there. And then that will go on the top, and I think that is really pretty. Right, so let me get some epoxy so that I can stick that butterfly on. I'm using a 2-part epoxy resin glue to stick this on, and like resin you just need 2 equal sized pieces. So I've put a small blob onto a piece of parchment paper or greaseproof paper, And now I need to add the second part. Put a blob the same size, and these won't activate until they are mixed together. This is pretty quick setting. It takes 4 minutes for it to harden once it's mixed. So I'm going to work pretty quick, use a lollipop stick to mix these together. Make sure that it is all blended. And then I can spread that on the bottom of the butterfly and stick this down. And the reason I'm using this over something like a UV bonding resin is that I can't get the UV light where it would need to be to cure it. So this is a much safer option. And stick that on the bottom of the butterfly. And now I'm just going to leave that to sit there for 4 to 5 minutes, and then that should be bonded. The epoxy's cured and the butterfly's fixed, so now I'm going to use some super glue to attach these small roses and leaves. These are nail decal charms and I got them from Temu. Again, check the description box below for any of the items that you might be interested in, and hopefully I'll have a link for you. So I'm going to pop on some music and attach these decorations. Here it is, it's all finished. I think this turned out really nicely. This is still my favourite pot mould. It just has so much scope, and I really love the IntoResin butterfly. It looks great on here, the colours look great. I think it would make a great Mother's Day present. I hope you've liked this video. If you have, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Just click the button below the video and you'll be able to find out what I'm going to make next time. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.